It's only taken 4 years and 5 months. But finally this week, we have the most batshit crazy direct response from Meghan Markle to the huge slew of bullying allegations against her at Buckingham Palace.
Let's talk about this in a relaxed but thorough way. What Meghan said, what the critics are saying, what this means to her reputation, and why this whole birthday statement feels more like a PR stunt than a celebration. Buckle up, because this is a messy one.
Now, the mainstream media isn't realizing the significance of this statement. Now, focusing on her birthday, we will obviously talk about that too. But trust me, what she is saying is so deceitful, so duplicitous, so full of lies, it finally exposes this woman for who she really is. Because Meghan Markle is now saying that there was a plot against her, that members of the royal family like Prince William and Catherine, the Princess of Wales, alongside their staff members like Jason Knauf, were conspiring with some of the most credible broadsheet journalists in the United Kingdom to try and bring her down with lies, with bullying lies. It is honestly explosive. P. Diner is with me too, and we are going to get into all of this. And I found it so fascinating, actually, that she did decide to overshadow her own birthday with the release of this statement. But of course, nothing says I'm turning 44 and I'm really desperate than going to a favourite Kardashian restaurant and making sure there's a really big plug just so you get all the food free. Blowing out the candles on a beautiful 24 hours and thanking my husband, friends and family for making it so special. To those of you I don't know but who send love every day, thank you so much. Please know I feel it and appreciate it. And just to get a little foodie on you, this dinner last night at Funke LA with the culinary mastery of Evan Funke and his team is in the top 5 meals of my life. Extraordinary. Thank you for a standout dining experience. Now, I want to take a closer look at the nose. By the way, I'm no expert, but the Royal News Network asking, was Meghan Markle's birthday present to herself a nose job? The lighting isn't great, but the tip of her nose definitely looks different. Wow, no wonder she disappeared for the last month. Had to hide and recover, I guess. We'll have to wait for better pictures to confirm. You be the judge on that one. But what I think is by far the most significant story of this birthday is that Meghan decided to use it to hit back via the New York Post, a Rupert Murdoch tabloid, but by far her favorite sort of the tabloid publications in the US newspapers that she does regularly work with. And I mean, well, I've just got to get into it. They ran this headline based on the interview with Valentine Lowe of The Times that we also played you last week. Why Meghan Markle's fragile employees waited years to accuse her of bullying. Now, we'll see what Valentine Lowe had to say in just one moment. And trust me, I know journalists very well. I was part of this mainstream media thing in the United Kingdom for 20 years. Valentine Lowe doesn't go into anything with an agenda. He's not someone like me who brings his own opinion and analysis. He simply looks at the facts. The Times is a newspaper of record and he reports them. And of course, the facts that people like me had been reporting for many years is that Meghan was a bully, that Meghan had bullied staff behind the scenes at within the palaces, that Meghan had even bullied her own sister-in-law, Catherine, the Princess of Wales, and her own niece, Princess Charlotte. But for some reason, this interview with Valentine Lowe, which we covered here on Outspoken at the weekend, has made Meghan decide, to finally go public via a spokesperson. But trust me, these are her words. The only time bullying allegations had ever come up before, she left it to Schilling's lawyers to respond for her. Never a spokesperson, never anything from her own words. But Meghan is at a different stage of her life, and she now wants to describe Lowe's reporting as, quote, harmful gossip. She said that he continues to desperately recycle false, offensive and long discredited allegations in an apparent bid to sell books and resuscitate relevance. Meghan went on, these claims, rooted in anonymous, unverifiable sources, form part of a broader and deeply troubling agenda that seeks to dehumanize a woman who has consistently stood up for fairness, dignity, and truth. The Duchess has faced years of unfounded attacks masked as journalism in a never-ending smear campaign, beginning only once she was affiliated with the institution. Meghan remains undeterred by the noise and firmly focused on her family and work.
Meghan's words, technically through a spokesperson, but let's be real, these were her words, were nothing short of explosive. She basically accused palace insiders, senior royals like William and Catherine, and even respected journalists of conspiring against her in a smear campaign.
Wow. Yes, it is a mic drop statement, but it also shows you that Meghan Markle, if you didn't trust me on this before, is living in a fantasy world. She has allowed her own lies to multiply and to build up that she actually has no idea of the truth, even if it would come and hit her in the face. Because to suggest that there was some type of smear campaign here is utterly ludicrous, given that it would mean that the smear campaign would also have been continued by The Hollywood Reporter, by Vanity Fair, by The Daily Beast, by Newsweek, by staff members also working for Archewell in California. And what I found particularly disgusting, and remember, she knows this, she thinks you're stupid, she thinks we're stupid, is that when she spoke about the fact that these claims are rooted in anonymous and unverifiable sources, what she is doing is completely neglecting to tell us that they have to be legally. If any member of the Sussex Survivors Club, and trust me, there are many of them, want to speak out publicly, they face jail. And that is because if you go and work for the royal family in the United Kingdom, you sign the Official Secrets Act. So what I have been saying for a number of years, and what I will say again today, Meghan, you need to waive all of these contracts. You need to allow these staff members to speak out if you're so confident in terms of what you're saying. If you're so confident that there is some type of deeply troubling agenda that was just seeking to dehumanize them, dehumanize you. Let these people speak. You claimed that you were silenced within the royal family. Stop silencing these people. Let the public judge. And why don't you go and sue Valentine Lowe? Why don't you go and sue Jason Knauf? Because at that point, the evidence would be able to be presented in a British court of law. You will never do that, Meghan Markle, because you know the facts on the ground are not in your favour. So as I say, this is quite astonishing. Yes, there's a lot of other royal news around, and of course we'll be talking about it all. But to me, this is a landmark moment showing, P. Dinah, that Meghan Markle is now so delusional that she believes that there is some type of deep state campaign against her and that she was never a bully, even though there are now so many bullying claims, so many claims of psychiatric abuse, so many claims of staff members going into therapy on both sides of the Atlantic, that what she's saying is actually completely nonsensical.
Yeah, absolutely. Megan has done a lot of things to show us who she is. And all we have to do is look to Megan's own actions to understand the kind of person she is. And so anything that she says about what other people are doing towards her will never stand up to what people believe as the truth, because we can see how Megan acts. We can see the choices and the things that she has done that have given us, the evidence that we need to know the kind of person that she is. I mean, all you have to do is look at the fact that her own father is someone that she doesn't speak to. And this is a man that gave her everything. So if you're going to treat your father, the one who gave you the whole world, who treated you like a princess, if you're going to treat that person very poorly, then what makes people think that you wouldn't do it to people that you're paying? It makes no sense that she thinks that people are going to believe the things that she is trying to say about, this being a smear campaign. Megan has definitely shown us who she is. And they always say, when someone shows you who they are, believe them. And we're simply believing who Meghan Markle is by the things that she has shown us. And so we're not going to fall for Megan trying to play the victim here. She is definitely a bad actor in terms of the things that she has done to people, and she's simply getting back the treatment that she has put out there towards other people. And we just believe the kind of person that she is to be not a very nice person. And so that's what she's getting thrown back at her. And at this point, Dan, her reputation is so in the mud that she's just trying to dig herself out of it and trying to make up these false claims that will never go anywhere with people in terms of believing it. I mean, she is desperate. It shows you how much she is in a panic right now because people are really calling her out and she can't get out of it. We already know the kind of person she is. We're not going to fall for it. People are really going after this woman in a very big way, and she doesn't like it.
What all this boils down to is desperation. Meghan's statement wasn't just about clearing her name. It was about clinging to whatever scraps of credibility she has left. Her Hollywood circle isn't rushing to support her anymore. Her wine isn't the hot sellout brand she wants it to be. And the bullying allegations, they are still haunting her, louder than ever. Her move to attack Valentine Lowe and frame everything as a smear campaign feels like a last-ditch effort to flip the script.
Totally. I mean, she says in the statement, P. Dinah, that these allegations are long discredited. Absolutely not. Valentine Lowe revealed that she had never taken legal action against him. Complete radio silence. So they're not long discredited in any way. And this idea that there's an agenda seeking to dehumanize her and the fact that she has stood up for fairness, dignity, and the truth is utterly delusional. She covers up the truth, because if she had any care about the truth, she would let her staff members speak out. And again, I know there's lots of Americans who in the past would have maybe thought that Meghan Markle was the victim of bullying or even racism within the British royal family. But what I've seen over the past 2 years is holy shit, no. These staff members are also talking to the Hollywood Reporter and describing her as a dictator, duchess in high heels. Holy shit, Vanity Fair is also reporting how many staff members, including Americans, have ended up in psychiatric treatment. It's like this is a story which has moved on so significantly, and the fact that Meghan is sticking to her guns but actually coming out firing so much harder is quite astonishing. But P. Dinah, what I want to show you... Sorry, you come in.
Okay. No, I was just going to say, I mean, think about it. If we have allegations of her bullying staff over in the UK, and then we have the same thing happening over in America, that right there is not an orchestrated smear campaign. That is simply people coming out and telling what happened to them, especially when they're on two different continents, okay? This woman cannot even put up a defense against the things that have happened to her in the UK and over in America. Right? Like it doesn't even make sense that anyone would be orchestrating something, across the pond around this woman. She's done this to herself.
They were on her side. I mean, these publications were literally acting as propagandists for her for some time. But look, I want to show you the key portion of the interview with Valentine Lowe, which has led to this extraordinary outburst from Meghan Markle. This was in conversation with Kinsey Schofield. We did produce an in-depth video looking at his allegations, which is available on the Outspoken YouTube channel from this Sunday if you do want to go further in depth. But here are the main elements, P. Dinah.
For both that Times piece and your book, were they nervous? Were they frightened?
Certainly for the Times piece, people were very nervous. I mean, I had to make quite complicated arrangements to talk to some people, and there was a strong element of nervousness and worry, and they were still, some of them were still in a very fragile state. I mean, and this is extraordinary, because it was 2.5 years later. It was 2.5 years after that memo was written. And they'd left the employ of the royal family, and they still were in a psychologically delicate state as a result of what happened to them at that time.
And a lot of these people, when they signed these agreements, which means maybe not some of the people that talk to you, but some of the people that leave, they tend to be asked to sign agreements that say they won't say anything about working in the royal household. Is that true?
Absolutely.
And so there are many people have asked me this before, and we've discussed this before, but I think it's worth mentioning because I know people will ask this again. Even if their NDAs were lifted, a lot of these people don't want to become the face of this drama. They don't want to be. They don't want to be doing the interview circuits. They have no desire to put themselves out there. So in case they ever were given permission to talk publicly, you have told me previously you doubt that they would. Is that correct?
Absolutely. I think they are happy leading their new lives, doing whatever new job it is they do. And they don't want the media on their doorstep. They don't want to have this kind of target on them. And certainly at the time I was writing that story, they were very worried about what Meghan would do to them. About they viewed her capacity for revenge as infinite.
I mean, P. Dinah, capacity for
Wow.
revenge as infinite. But again, I think it's really important to see who we're talking about with Valentine Lowe, okay? Because he isn't me, he isn't Lady Colin Campbell, he isn't Piers Morgan. This is a very quiet, studious, traditional British broadsheet newspaper reporter who doesn't want to make the story about himself, who doesn't have any of the bombast of people like me who did report this story, but then actually started to take a view on it. And that's why I find it astonishing that Meghan Markle has just totally gone for this man. I mean, he's retired now. He has about a 5-decade storied career, and she is trying to destroy all of that.
But the problem is, too many people have already made up their minds. And when your brand is built on authenticity, relatability, and victimhood, once people decide you're not authentic, the whole thing crumbles. So, did Meghan's birthday strategy work? Honestly, it backfired.
Yeah, I mean, doesn't it just give you the insight you need to know what Megan is going through right now? She's desperate to really hide these stories and to portray something completely different because her career depends on it. Her career depends on these things not coming out and taking, heed very strongly across the globe because she's trying to do world domination. She's trying to get around and have a brand and empire that's supposed to do very well. And if she has these stories coming out, it really is going to be very harmful to her future, her money making potential. And so she's coming out guns blazing, trying to shoot down all these allegations. But I think it's just too strong to go away because, like I said, they're over in the UK, in the States, and she's just trying to do damage control right now. And it's insulting that she would try to come out and go against this journalist in a way that she's doing it because he has a very deep reputation for doing very thorough work and people believe the things that he writes about. I mean, he's been doing this for many years and the things that he reports on are very believable. And you can't win in court. You can't do anything that is going to make this man take back or to take it away essentially because it's very well vetted and Megan knows it. And this is why she's freaking out over all of this. And hey, I think it also speaks to the relationship with her and Harry right now, because Harry is probably giving her a lot of backlash because he sees that his whole brand has gone down with Meghan's, and he's part of that. And he is probably giving her a lot of flack over it as well. So I think she sees it coming from all sides and she doesn't know what to do. She's just lashing out because she's in a panic right now over people really talking about things that she herself knows to be true. And she doesn't know how to deal with it. And I tell you, if this man is not being sued, hey, we're believing it. People are believing these stories. And she has a lot to be nervous about because her reputation has been damaged tremendously. And we know how she comes out and the way she is vindictive, the way she comes at people to try to, play in the background, but really being the manipulator behind all of this nefarious behavior. She is doing this right now as we speak, I believe. And so that just points to her desperation and how scared she really is right now.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. The Royal News Network has done some really interesting analysis on this. Let me just take you through it, P. Diner. They write, Meghan Markle's losing the plot big time over Valentine Lowe as he reiterates the damage her alleged bullying tactics as a royal cost her former staff. Her spokesperson's response is both unhinged and filled with outright lies. And P. Diner, it actually feels like that is the case as well when it comes to her relaunch. Because, again, so much going on in one day, which is particularly bizarre. But she decided to use her birthday to relaunch the as ever, as Lady C says, was never rosé. And she released this post on Instagram. We made so much more this time round, and yet it's still going fast. Don't miss out. But the problem is, there's no sellout this time, with the Royal News Network also posting Meghan Markle has again shot herself in the foot. Her wine has yet to sell out. Perhaps she's filled her stocks correctly or her product isn't moving like last time, but she's set herself up to sell out every time. So when she doesn't, now it seems like there's a problem with the product or the brand. This is the problem with the scarcity tactic, much like her over-the-top PDA with Harry. Once it stops, it raises questions that wouldn't be asked otherwise. And P. Diner, I just think this isn't selling because... Do you remember the Daily Mail recently revealed that Netflix had been really disturbed by the lack of stock that was being moved, even though so little stock had actually been produced?
Instead of looking empowered and vindicated, she looked paranoid and desperate. Instead of selling out her wine, she exposed its weakness. Instead of basking in Hollywood birthday love, she got silent from her biggest names. This was supposed to be Meghan's moment to reset the narrative. Instead, it reminded everyone of the very controversies she's trying to escape. And it proved once again that every time Meghan tries to rewrite her story, the old chapters come roaring back louder than ever. If anything, this birthday made one thing crystal clear. Meghan Markle isn't controlling the narrative anymore. The narrative is controlling her. That's the story. Messy, dramatic, and very Meghan.